Hey everybody, welcome back to another Jackson Jet Setting cruise ship tour. Today we are on board the Norwegian Joy, one of the coolest ships sailing out of Miami right now. It's got a lot of features on board, including 2 killer water slides, as well as a fully electric go-kart track. I was excited to check everything out on my short cruise. We're going to do a full tour today. Thanks a lot for watching. If you love this type of content, please subscribe to the channel and give this video a like. It really helps us out. So let's start our tour on deck 17. This is not the highest deck on the ship. There's actually 20 total decks, but this is going to be the most convenient way to do this video. So we're going to start here and just hang with me because the ship is a little confusing. They fit a lot on board, but there's lots of half decks and ways to get to deck 20 that you have to follow one specific staircase or take one specific elevator. So right now we're on deck 17. This is the sun deck. Lots of great awning above the loungers here. Lots of nice shade. I think this is really great to have. Seemed like there were a lot of different chairs here. Plenty of space for everyone to spread out. Lots of action happening on this deck and the decks around it. You see the first of 2 water slides that will feature in this video here. This is the Aqua Racer water slide, and it's a tube slide. You can go single or in some tandem tubes. If you have a single tube, it actually is taken up to the top of the platform for you by a conveyor belt, so that was really cool. They wouldn't let me take my GoPro down on a wrist mount, so I can't show you inside the slide, but there's lots of fun designs that let some natural light through with some different sea creatures and things like that. So this is the most popular slide for the little kids because they can actually do it. Little NCL logo there on the smokestacks. And here we come to our first view of the Norwegian Joy Speedway. This is one of the most unique benefits on board. We'll show you a little more in just a second. But underneath the track are a few more public areas. We have the American Diner, so this is sort of like the Johnny Rockets of the Norwegian Joy. This is included in your fare. I think this used to be an extra charge, so this is nice that this is now included. It's got all of your typical diner food, burgers, grilled cheeses, hot dogs, that sort of thing. And it's got a nice 1950s theme to it with some hot rods from the era right there. So this all fits in with the raceway theme. I think that was really nice that they put this right underneath the track so anyone done with their race can go and fuel up a little bit below. So we are deck 17 aft, and there are a few more spaces that they've squeezed underneath the racetrack here that we'll show you now. One of them is going to be Spice H2O. So you just head into the automatic doors here and head in. This is the 18 and up only, but included beach club deck area on board the Norwegian Joy. It's got a fun, trippy entrance as you head in. And this area is pretty neat because it does have a larger hot tub. It's kind of one of those resort-style hot tubs that can fit a whole bunch of people. You have a private bar area, and then you have this screen here that'll play sports, movies, anything going on around the ship. So really nice that they have this here, and it's a private area just for adults tucked in the back of the ship. I really like this space. Lots of great ocean views from here, and just a nice private bar, good bartenders. This is underneath the racetrack, but I didn't really notice any big noise problems here. The go-karts are fully electric. They do have some engine noise that they pipe in just for kind of the fun of it. But overall, that wasn't an issue, and neither are like fumes, though you do have the smokestack of the entire cruise ship right above you. So just keep that in mind with this area. But here's the bar, and then we'll show you the hot tub. Now, right at the entrance of Spice H2O, across from the American Diner, is the Pulse Fitness Center. So this is the ship's gym. Some ships, you have to walk through the spa area to get to the gym, not on the Norwegian Joy, which I think is really nice and convenient. A big room here, lots of cardio equipment. They have their own spin room. They have some TRX bands and things like that available just to grab. So a lot of different equipment available to the whole ship here, included in your cruise fare. They'll offer classes in here as well for an extra charge. Typically, they'll have some sort of stretching class early in the morning before most of the people on the ship wake up. That will be included in your cruise. Most cruise lines do that. But I love all the ocean views from the Pulse Fitness Center here. It's really nice to have access to this and get your cruise vacation going. Don't gain all the LBs while on board. Appears that all the equipment is Techno Gym equipment, so for the gym nuts out there that care about the different brand manufacturers for these machines, it's Techno Gym on board. So to me, it's pretty incredible that they're able to squeeze so much underneath the racetrack in this section of the ship. So now we'll head up from deck 17 up to deck 18. Check out what there is to see there. Deck 18 is going to be split between this back section where you can actually load into the go-karts, and then the front of the ship is going to be mostly Haven. We'll talk about Haven in just a second. But you'll have a long walk across the racetrack here, checking out all there is to see. So as you notice, you can load into the go-karts here on this level, and then there's actually a ramp that takes you up to deck 20, which is just really fun. And once they get going, it is a absolute blast. It looks like they have single and double go-karts there available for you, so you can have multiple sessions. Maybe you have a younger child that's not ready to drive them themselves, but they can still enjoy this speedway, which is really just a very unique benefit. Now, these are $15 per ride. Rides last between 6 and 8 minutes each. So not necessarily a cheap activity. It's not included, and it is very, very popular. It's first come, first served, unfortunately. So if you are someone who's maybe a little late to activities on board, or if you're on a shorter cruise, you may have difficulty signing up for this activity. So just keep that in mind. So from here, you can walk up the stairs, and there's a small viewing platform as well as the ship's mini golf course. So there's 9 holes of mini golf here, pretty hidden from the rest of the ship. So a lot of people, I think on my cruise, never really found that the mini golf was up here, but they are able to squeeze it in and have a couple of holes, fun for the whole family to compete against each other. And you got the go-karts going in the background, so a lot of action happening up here. Highly recommend coming up here because it's some of the best views on the ship. Probably the highest that you can get without riding one of the water slides or paying for access at the Vibe Beach Club or the Haven, and we will show you all those areas in just a second. You can also see from this area how close we are to the Spice H2O area that we just came from. So it's just above that area. Great for the parents maybe to go relax while the kids can go play mini golf and things like that in this area. Here's another look at the Aqua Racer water slide from the area where the go-karts are. On the opposite side is the Aqua Loop water slide. Now this one is a drop slide that goes basically 2 loops over the edge of the ship. Very intense. There's a lot of stipulations in riding it. There's a weight limit. It's all very, very elaborate to actually get on this water slide. I was able to do it. It's a lot of fun, but just keep that in mind. Read all of the rules and regulations before you got on board to make sure that your swimsuit doesn't have buttons, for example. They also never had these 2 slides open at the same time on my voyage, so just pay attention to the schedule. Make sure that you don't miss out on the slide that you're wanting to ride. But this is a very unique feature and pretty intense for having this on a cruise ship. It's got these clear sections that you can actually see out, though you're going so fast it's kind of hard to marvel in the view, so to speak. But now we're heading forward onto deck 19. We're going to check out one area that I was able to quickly access. This is the Vibe Beach Club, and on my cruise, it was an extra charge of about $159 to access. And this basically gets you your own private sun deck and private bar, private hot tub. It's definitely worth it for those busier trips, and you're someone who absolutely needs a sun lounger. They keep this pretty walled off. But it's nice to have those hot tubs across the decks. Actually goes up to deck 20, which is the highest you can get on the ship besides riding one of the water slides. But this is what that top deck looks like. So really great views during the day, obviously, and it's your own private oasis without having to pay for the Haven. And the Haven is directly below the Vibe Beach Club and even with it. It's a whole different class of ship, essentially first class. You have your own private restaurant that has an outdoor dining area as well as indoor. You have your own private pool. You have a lot heightened service that you never really even need to leave the Haven area during your voyage if you don't want to. Now, I wasn't able to get access on my short cruise to check out the Haven at all, but you can see some of the benefits here. It's just really nice to have this whole area of the ship basically walled off just for you in the Haven. So if it's in your budget, I recommend checking out the Haven for your Norwegian Joy cruise. But we're going to continue our tour here. We're back aft on deck 16. This is the pool deck of the Norwegian Joy. So you notice a lot of shade on the sides here and then a big open area. You have the waves bar right here. The waves bar is going to be your pool bar for the entire voyage. I will say that didn't feel like there were enough bars on the pool deck itself, and the design of the pool deck is a little weird compared to other ships I've been on. There's this strange open area, which is great for deck parties and things like that, but this used to be a garden when the ship was in the Chinese market. And there's a nice splash play area with small water slide for the little kids that maybe aren't ready for these bigger water slides. So that's all located right here next to the waves bar. Couple of hot tubs. You have that big screen there for playing movies and sports. They do movies at night, throughout the day. They have different live music events. They have a whole stage out here, which is really great. I saw a lot of live music during my voyage, which is always great to see. Then, of course, you have your traditional pools that are always very popular with everyone. Lots of outdoor dining here. This is going to be located right next to the Garden Cafe, which is the ship's buffet. Open long hours, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, which is always great to see. I always like to see the buffet open for all 3 meals to give everyone a choice of where they want to dine in the evening. Maybe you're not ready for the main dining room that evening and you just want to grab something really quick. The buffet is going to be a great option for that. So I filmed this on embarkation day, so the Garden Cafe was quite busy. But we're going to show you what it looks like in here. You'll have a number of different stations that switch out throughout the day depending on what meal is being served. As you walk in, you'll have some hand wash stations, which is always important to do if you're dining. Keep everyone safe and healthy on board. Lots of free drinks here on the buffet. You have waters, teas, lemonades, that sort of thing. Anything like a soda or an alcoholic beverage is going to be an extra charge. You can always try and get the drink package. And then specialty coffee stations, all Starbucks coffee on board. So that's always an option for you. But you have a fruit and dessert area here. You have a to-go espresso machine that's an extra charge. And then as you keep walking back, there's going to be a whole slew of different stations on the left, and then lots of seating on the right, and it's going to wrap around to the front. Now, if you're someone who's looking for tips on the buffet, I would say get there early before the rest of the ship wakes up. It's always helpful to do that, especially on port days, because everyone's going to be up and ready to go, super excited to have a fun day on shore. And then for lunch and dinner, going to be a little bit less crazy. Breakfast is always going to be the most busy meal of the day. Those sea days are going to be a lot busier than usual because the whole ship will be on board. But during the port days, you're going to have a lot more options of seating and just a little bit more relaxed, I would say, on here. Usually there's a lot of seating in the aft section of these buffets on board, and definitely the case here. But as you can see, it was very, very busy, kind of weaving in and out of people. So I apologize, it's not the normal empty buffet that I try and capture for these videos, but it does give you a good sense of how busy it can be, and it's basically the same type of seating throughout the entire space here at the Garden Cafe. So now we're going to loop around and head out the front door and go explore more on the pool deck. So just outside the Garden Cafe to the left is another pool bar. This is the Waves bar, and we're going to loop around and check out a few more options available here on this deck. You can see how busy it is. This is why the Vibes Beach Club is maybe a good option for your cruise if you're someone who doesn't like to fight for a beach chair. It's just always nice to have that reserved seating and just a more relaxed atmosphere for your whole vacation. Here's a look at the stage over here to the left. Great live music on board the Norwegian Joy. Shout out to all the musicians working hard to keep everyone entertained. You have stairs up to the sun deck that we came from earlier in the video. And then here's another look at the splash play area. The kids were having a ball with us the entire cruise. It's underneath the water slides there, so a lot of families end up congregating around this area. There are a few indoor areas on the pool deck here. The Mandara Spa is one of them. So I did a quick spa tour on my embarkation day, kind of the best way for me to get a good look at the spa. They have a full salon on board, and then they also have a barber shop for the men. They have locker rooms for everyone, and then they actually added this in one of the dry docks. They didn't have a thermal room on board, which I think was a big mistake, and they obviously invested heavily into making one of the best thermal suites I have ever seen on board any ship. This is a really nice area. I'm excited that they were able to add this. Different treatment rooms, different areas just to go hang out. You have a whole salt room here. You have your typical dry and wet saunas. You have a whole ice room. There's just a lot going on here. And what I like for traveling couples is this area is fully co-ed. So you can enjoy this with your spouse. Some ships sometimes segregate these areas and it just isn't as fun, I don't think. Sadly, this area is not included in your cruise fare. There is an extra charge. There's usually some sort of promo going on depending on the cruise, but you can get an all-access pass for the entire voyage, and sometimes they'll sell day tickets depending on the length of the voyage. I recommend heading to the spa on embarkation day and doing a tour, entering the spa raffle. This is a cold plunge, by the way. I loved the cold plunge. Oh my gosh. It was so cool to see. I love that there's actually a cold plunge on board. Tell how new it is because they actually do have one of those. Small hot tub with great views of the ocean. The typical stone loungers that are heated. This is a great place for reading a book, relaxing. I just love the views with like the wake view. If your ship is at sea, you're just going to have a great view out the back of the ship. To the left here is aromatherapy chairs, which I had never seen in a spa, so you can press certain buttons and you get like eucalyptus and things like that. But in this area as well is the video arcade as well as the teen club Entourage, so we'll check out the video arcade first. I like how the ships put what I call the kiddie casino right next to where all the teenagers hang out. They definitely know how to design these ships for maximum revenue, but a very big arcade, lots of places for the kids to play. You can get an arcade card for your voyage. I think that's a nice deal for kids that maybe are going to be playing a lot of games. Always a fun activity, and I will admit I sometimes end up playing a video game or two while I'm at sea. By the way, if you're watching this video and you're looking for a little bit of help in planning your next voyage, I can definitely help you. You can reach out to Mark at jacksonjetsetting.com for a free quote on your next voyage. We'll do our best to find you the very best ship for your vacation. Entourage Teen Club is right here. Lots of fun space, lots of video games, table games, that sort of thing. And now we're skipping over to deck 15 forward. This is the observation lounge, and this is directly below the haven area on board. It's got a lot of seating as you lead up to the best bow views on the ship that you don't have to pay extra for. So I do recommend hanging out here. They have a bar, they have a Starbucks. They even have this small buffet. I think this is a nice secret buffet here because, you know, the buffet at the Garden Cafe could be quite busy, and this was shot directly after I was walking through the buffet. So no one in here, not as many options, of course, but if you need a quick snack and don't want to fight the hordes of people on board, the observation lounge might be the best pick for you. But this was definitely one of my favorite spots on the entire ship. You can see as we enter the larger room here, the actual lounge, just how much space they actually have in the observation lounge. So as we walk past the bar here, you can see just how big these windows are out the observation lounge. 2 stories of windows. I just love this space so much because of that. Plenty of seating. This is a great place just to enjoy a drink, maybe play a few card games with your friends. Seating even wraps around here, and then we'll go check out the Starbucks and the bar. So this is one of 2 full-service Starbucks on board, the other one being all the way down on deck 6. You can get all of your Starbucks favorites here. Another small buffet with some finger foods, and then the bar. Down on deck 13, if you get very unlucky, is the medical center in the center of the ship. So just keep that in mind. Medical emergency, head over to deck 13. So now we're going to head down to deck 8 and start exploring some of the indoor decks on the ship. Decks 8, 7, and 6 are punctuated by this 3-story atrium. I really like this space. But we will continue our ship tour, moving down deck by deck. We're going to start at Food Republic, which is located about midship on deck 8. The forward part of this deck are all staterooms. And Food Republic is a specialty restaurant, the first one on our tour. And this is going to be the ship's sushi bar, a lot of Asian-inspired dishes. I believe it used to be a la carte, but now you pay one fee of $60 a person. And you have a few different entrees to choose from. Really nice space here. I love all the natural light. This ship does an amazing job of letting in natural light, getting you access to the sea. I'll show you that. Deck 8 is a great example because they have the waterfront. And a lot of the specialty restaurants actually have outdoor seating, which I think is a really, really awesome feature on the Norwegian Joy. On the opposite side of the deck is the District Brew House, and this is going to be the best beer bar on board by far. They have tons of beers on tap, lots of local Florida beers, a couple of your favorite beers from around the world as well. Most of these are going to be included on your drink package. I don't think there's any beers that are more expensive than that. And lots of fun little bar games that you can be playing. There's some live music here on that small piano certain times during the day. And again, those awesome views kind of extending out beyond the ship, which I think is so important for a cruise ship to do. I love that they kind of bring in some more personal touches here, like these photo booth photos. But you actually have a whole fridge of different types of beers that you can choose from besides the beers that are on tap behind the bar. And I like the little finger beer pong that you can play with a little bottle cap on the string there. So staying indoors and walking aft, we're going to continue on deck 8 here. Lots of specialty dining here on deck 8. To the right is going to be Cucina, which is the ship's Italian restaurant. This is one of the more reasonable specialty dining options on board. It's going to be about $40 a person. So if you're looking for homemade pastas, ossobuco, that sort of thing, this is going to be quite the deal. Across from that is going to be the Cellar's Wine Bar. So there's a couple of different wines by the glass included in the drink package, but then you have higher end pours of certain ounces from their cellar. This is a really cool feature. I think they do a great job of bringing in a bunch of different wines, and they have them all on the iPad there that you can select from. The glassed in wine cellar separates the space from Ocean Blue, which is the high-end seafood restaurant. Beautiful space indoors, but both Ocean Blue and Cucina have space out on the waterfront. And don't worry, we will show you the waterfront area shortly after we finish the indoor section of this. So if you're looking for probably the most elegant feeling meal on board, I think Ocean Blue is a great option here. But moving aft on deck 8 is going to be a lot of the duty-free shopping. This area is going to get pretty busy in the evenings as people hustle and bustle to dinner. Pathways can get a little tight in this area, but they squeeze a lot in this area. So you have Sandbar, which was the liquor, cigarettes, that sort of thing that you can buy at sea. And next door to that is the Cavern Club, which is a very famous club music venue in Liverpool where the Beatles started, so lots of British band influence in here. It's where you're going to find a lot of karaoke in the evenings. They have a bar. It's a lot of fun, so I do recommend stopping in here when the action is happening. They have an outdoor bar area on the waterfront as well. They do have a Beatles cover band on board that is the main show on some evenings in the main theater, the Joy Theater, but they come up here during other evenings and play sets. They're really good, so I do recommend checking them out on your Norwegian Joy voyage. Across the hall from the Cavern Club is going to be the Sugar Cane Mojito Bar. This is going to be your tropical bar, a very popular bar on board because the cocktails here are pretty potent and fun. You also have a live band that shows up on occasion, and you have an outdoor area as well. Some more jewelry shops in this section of deck 8. But this is going to be the center of duty-free shopping while you're at sea on board the Norwegian Joy. And all the way aft is going to be Le Bistro and Cagney's. Le Bistro is going to be the ship's French restaurant. Cagney's the classic steakhouse. And then you're going to have the A-list bar in between, which is open without having to pay, a specialty dining fee. And they're going to have fun Manhattans and martinis and that sort of thing. A very elegant feel in this part of the ship. Has that cool New York feel to the whole space. Lots of dark woods. That steakhouse feel that you're looking for. So very fun back here. Really great views. And of course you do have those waterfront seating options as well. Now I know I've teased the waterfront a little bit, so let's show you a little bit of that. All the way aft is going to be the humidor cigar lounge, so you can only access this from the waterfront. Lots of leather chairs and even a humidor for you to purchase a cigar from, but it is a very smoky room, so just keep that in mind. Not really an area to hang out in unless you are a cigar smoker. But this is the waterfront, so it doesn't wrap all the way around deck 8, but it is a lot of it. And you can just do a nice stroll after dinner or enjoy your dinner on the waterfront, which I just absolutely love about this ship. And so all those restaurants and bars have some sort of outdoor seating. The Cavern Club and the Sugarcane Bar actually have a bar that faces outdoors, which is really smart. And then aft here is this really cool section, which has really great wake views, but also little windows that look all the way down to the stern, which is a little scary and pretty fun. So the Cavern Club has the bar set up here, which I love that there's just tons of seating here for people just to hang out and have a drink with the ocean. Now we'll head down to deck 7 aft. This is the Manhattan room. This is the first of several main dining rooms that you can access on board. Norwegian does the freestyle dining, so you show up and you can get a table. You might have a small wait, but no set dining times here on Norwegian. And this little space is really pretty. This is probably the prettiest of the 3 dining rooms that I was able to visit. Really kind of that traditional cruise ship dining room feel, multiple levels. Very pretty here. Right outside the Manhattan room is going to be the entrance to the casino. This spreads out across a lot of this deck. To the left there is the smoking casino, so that's behind a glass door. So the rest of the casino is completely non-smoking, which is really great. Skyline bar over here to the right. But a ton of different machines, of course, table games, everything that you love to play in a casino is going to be available here on board. Here's a look at the atrium that I showed you earlier. So we're on the middle deck of the 3-story atrium. And then as we move through the casino, the local is going to be located on the opposite side. So there's a bar and a 24-hour restaurant here with a lot of pub-style food. You have Reuben's, you have pretzel bites. This was one of my favorite spots on the ship because I love the hours being open super late night for everyone who's still enjoying the ship, but also available just any time that you are looking to grab something that isn't the buffet. There's also a mini arcade right next to the local, so some of the VR games, Pop-A-Shot, more group activity games are going to be located here. And then also the Joy Theater. So the Joy Theater isn't all the way fully forward on this ship, but it is going to be the main theater for all of the fun acts. It's not gigantic for a ship of this size, I felt, but like the design, very unique feel. The Joy Theater is so large that it actually bleeds into Deck 6. So we're going to start our tour on Deck 6 now, and this is the Q Barbecue Restaurant. So this is going to be a specialty dining barbecue restaurant on board. There's also a bar in here that you can come and enjoy without paying for a meal. There's going to be a lot of country acts playing here throughout the cruise. Nice big stage. So a lot of fun in here, and it's a little hidden. Right next to Q Barbecue outside is going to be the library and card room, as well as the conference center on board. So a lot of different games and books that you can take out and play with your family. Small little room here, but available for free. And then you're going to have a few different meeting rooms right outside, just in case you're here for a corporate event or some other special event. They have that here. This is going to be right outside of the main guest services area on board. This is also a big hub of activity on board because there's going to be a lot of different game shows and stuff happening with this big screen that stretches 2 full decks up to where that local bar was. So it's a good spot at the local bar as well to hang out and watch some of the games going on. They got seating around the atrium. I do wish that some of these games were played in the theater because I think they need more space a lot of times. For example, Deal or No Deal was played out here rather than in the theater. But otherwise, you're going to have all of your different guest services right here. You're going to have the loyalty desk, the next cruise desk. This is going to lead to a lot more of the public spaces on this deck. This is the last full deck of public spaces indoors on the Norwegian Joy. You're going to have the atrium bar over here to the left. Obviously gets very popular just with all the games and stuff going on here. And then our second of 2 full-service Starbucks. So you're going to have all the drinks that you like on shore here on board. Moving forward, we're moving to the bottom of that atrium that spreads 3 decks. There's going to be a number of different activities in this area. For one, you're going to have the social club. The social club is kind of a multi-purpose room. It's not only the comedy club on board, which is just a lot of fun, but it's also the ship's nightclub late at night. So it's not a gigantic space. I'll show you it in just a second after we marvel at the chandelier here in the atrium. But there was one comedian on board on my voyage. I think longer voyages will have multiple comedians cycling through each evening, usually doing a PG show as well as an R-rated show. A lot of fun in here. You can tell it's not a giant space, so just come early if you really do want a seat. And they do have a bar inside the social club as well. Malting's Whiskey Bar is located across the way, and this is going to be a traditional whiskey bar. Didn't hang out in here at all. It's very tucked away, but if you're looking for kind of those high-end whiskeys, you're going to have probably the best selection on board in here. Across from that is going to be Teppanyaki. And so Teppanyaki is another specialty restaurant. This is going to be your traditional Benihana style meal. You're going to have a fun chef cooking things up for you. Managed to squeeze in a reservation in here. It's always very, very popular. And it's just a lot of fun because you got great ocean views and someone cooking Japanese style food right in front of you. Highly recommend. Through there, we're going to go and walk through the art gallery, and that leads to our other 2 dining rooms on board. The mix bar is in between those 2 dining rooms, so a good place to hang out, wait for dinner to be served. But Taste and Savor are the names of the 2 different dining rooms, and they're very small, not as big as the Manhattan room that we saw earlier, but it's going to have the same exact menu. So it doesn't really matter where you end up going. You show up and they'll have a table for you. There's also a small outdoor deck that doesn't wrap around or anything like that, but you can come out and just get some fresh air here. Also a small room showing off all of the first visit plaques, which is always fun to go check out. Down on Deck 5 is going to be our last stop on this tour. It is the Splash Academy. This is the ship's ages 3 through 12 club. So this is all going to be included in your voyage. Your kids are going to be sectioned off into different age groups, and there's going to be a whole bunch of different activities planned through them throughout the voyage. So this is down on Deck 5. But I'll leave you to walking through. Thanks a lot for watching this full tour of the Norwegian Joy. We hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you on the next video.